We are recording. All right, so it's Wednesday, January 8th, 2020. And today we are getting together to talk about Right Voice for You and the wild, amazing wave that Right Voice for You is. And I'm so glad that you guys are here. I'm seeing so many cool faces. Some of you I haven't seen in years. Some of you are brand new. This is so cool. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, thank you so much for being here. It's such a pleasure to have you guys and to have all of this new energy and this whole new wave of possibilities with consciousness and with Right Voice for You. And Right Voice for You is something that it's a class that I think that, I know that a lot of people have a lot of ideas about, and there's a little bit of confusion, maybe not a whole lot of clarity for some of you. And then there's also a lot of people who have a lot of ideas of what it was, what it has been, and everything like that. So we're going to start by actually just clearing anything that we think it is. And today we're going to rediscover what is possible with it and what choices are available. And just like, we'll do some tools and some really cool stuff. Oh, I gotta turn this off. We'll do some cool tools and some cool tools. We'll do some cools and some really cool stuff. And just whatever you guys want, whatever questions that you have, we can go wherever you want to go and take this in any direction that you want. So to start out, what are your judgments of you with regards to Right Voice for You? Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pot and pock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So what are your judgments and ideas about and decisions about Right Voice for You? And everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pot, pock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And some of you are probably brand new to Right Voice for You and brand new to Access. So just bear with me for a second because you might not have as much stuff going on, but I also know there's a ton of people who have done a lot of Access who are on this Zoom as well. So what is possible for you with the tools, if you are being the tools of Right Voice for You? And everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, will you guys destroy and uncreate it all times a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pot, pock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And I'll tell you guys a little story. So I was having a time where I was just frustrated, and it seemed like I knew so much was possible. I'm just going to mute you, Daniel, until you talk. Basically, I was like, what else is possible in my life? And I asked Gary a question about it, and he said, you've got to live by these two things, and it will change. And he gave me two tools that I was like, oh, okay, fine. Because they're such simple tools, but I did use them and they changed everything. My life went from okay, I have a good life in this reality to rocket ship star ride magic town. And the first one was, what are the greatest possibilities available? He's like, you need to be asking that all the time. What are the greatest possibilities available? And as you ask that, if you keep asking that, it will become your basic point of view in life. And can you imagine if your basic point of view in life was, how great can this possibly be? What are the greatest possibilities that are available? So that really changed things for me and really hit home, and something that I really used. And then the other thing that he recommended was to ask, what is this? What do I do with this? I see Jackie's taking diligent notes. I'll try to go slow enough for you, Jackie. What is this? What can I do with this? Can I change it? And if so, how do I change it? And those tools are something that we just go, whatever. I mean, a lot of you have heard that tool before. You know it. You heard it in your foundation 8 years ago, back when we traveled uphill in the snow. And it doesn't really mean anything. Like, it doesn't really hit, because they're just these open-ended questions. But what they actually are the ability to deal with anything. They're the ability to deal with anything. They're a superpower. If you choose those 4 questions, along with the 5th question of what are the greatest possibilities available, will allow you to deal with anything. Okay? And how many of you would rather be pathetic than deal with anything? Okay, because when we are, I mean, I am like the queen of pathetic. Like, I have done so much pathetic, because when I have done pathetic, it has worked. People will give me money. People will give me love. People will let me get away with shit. People will open the doors. But do you know who never gives in to me when I'm pathetic? You know who stomps me out like I'm a bad, sick animal when I'm pathetic? Gary. And he and Dane and some other access facilitators were the only people who wouldn't buy into my pathetic. They would stomp me to death. And I would be like, I don't like getting stomped to death. This is not fun. And everybody else in my world was still like validating and helping me and enabling me and all that stuff. And you know, I have great family and friends. Like, I really have chosen to come in with wonderful people around me. I have a great life. Even without access, I have a great life. And with access, it's like, you know, and using these tools, we can all have a life that's beyond this reality. So, but I would like the people who cared about me in this reality, you know, enabled that. And Gary would stomp me to death like I was a disgusting rat in the gutter. And I didn't like it. And it made me go, oh, when I'm pathetic, that doesn't actually get me what I want beyond this reality. It only gets me what I want in this reality. So how many of you have been trained to be pathetic and have decided that pathetic is the best route for the creation of what you'd like? It's not wrong. Like, it's really not wrong. And when you get past this, then you can do pathetic when you know you're doing pathetic to still get what you want from people. And that's fine. That's great. That's a manipulation. But it's when you actually think you're pathetic, because you're not. You couldn't be. You really couldn't be here. You really couldn't have these tools. There's not very many people in the world who do access consciousness. And I really hope that changes. And I really hope that this becomes so strong in the world energetically that the majority of the world can do this. That's what I would like to see. And that's not the case right now. You are one of the strong pioneers of this, even if you just started, because this isn't something that's normal. This isn't something that anybody else talks about. And when you're willing to do this stuff, I hate to tell you this, but it's because you have a level of intelligence that nobody else has. Even if your life sucks and you just think you can't get anything right, and these tools are like, oh, I don't even know, or do I really get it, or whatever, even if that's going on, you still have to understand that the fact that you get this, that you don't reject this, and that you see a different possibility means that you have to be one of the most intelligent people on the planet. You just have to. Okay? So, everything that is time, and that's, well, everything that is, will you guys destroy and uncreate it all and claim, own, and acknowledge that? Times a godzillion, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So, what do you know about the future that nobody knows about the future? Everything that doesn't allow you to claim, own, and acknowledge that, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, all night, fun and talk, shorts, boys, and beyond. Okay, I can open the floor to questions. Oh, there's a chat too. I haven't looked at the chat. Awesome. Hi to everybody.
I have a question about using.
Hi, Nina.
Hi, Nina. Hi. About using what is this and that tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are two questions about it. One is that most of the time when if I use it, let's say I'm in a real upset and I'm using it, I feel like I can just kind of stay in what is this, and even into the next question, and I go on, and I'm still in this upset.
Like it doesn't really work, sort of?
Well, I think it's working. I don't know. The question is, how long do I go on if it still feels heavy? Because I can almost always stop. Not always, but I'd say 85% of the time I can stop and say, okay, that's enough of this. I'm just going to choose happy. So that's one question. The other question is.
So wait, so hold on. I want to take this through because I want to understand better what you're saying. So
Okay.
You're saying that you do it, and then at a certain point you kind of like just go, okay, maybe I'm going to stop doing it, and then you just choose to be happy?
I can do that most of the time, depending on the level of the intensity of the crap.
Cool. So you actually have the ability to choose. Like you're actually willing to choose, because most people wouldn't do that. They would just go, oh, this is terrible, and they would keep going more and more into this reality. You actually go to choice, where you're like, okay, I can actually choose happy here.
Yeah, a lot of the times I can do that. And then the question is, am I missing out on actually clearing what the crap is if I just say, okay, basta, enough of this, and I'm going to go?
No, it's a good question.
Okay.
Because clearing choice is always more valuable than clearing. So Gary and Dane say one choice is worth 1,000 clearing statements.
Wow, thanks. Because I thought I heard Gary say to you once on a recording that you're really good at doing the happy stuff, but you weren't good at going into the crap and digging into it. Those aren't his words, but something like that.
I'm not sure. Like getting present with the crap.
Uh-huh.
I mean, no, you really don't need to do that. Like there is the requirement to be like present and aware in all areas. Like, because you don't want to just be, he was probably, because like I'm not sure what he said, but like I was very like, could be very like kind of not willing to look at like the dark parts of people or the meanness of people. Like I was actually just talking to a friend before this call, and she and I were talking about the meanness and the evil that people can function from. And we're taught to go, oh, Sandra's nice. And Sandra can be nice. And could you mute that person, Tom? Geez, that phone would be a very good vibrator. Just saying. You have a 2-in-1 there, whoever's phone that is. Ship me one to my house. Good God. But, and I'll take your question, Daniel, in a sec. But it's like, we do have a tendency to not realize when somebody's evil. And I was talking about with my friend, about how Gary told this woman in Access to go to a concentration camp and take a tour so that she could become aware of the evil that people function from just because they function from it. So people will, and this is if you're brand new to this or you're just picking up this YouTube video, this might be a hard pill to swallow. But it's like people do evil just because they do evil. You know, it's like a lot of us, it's like when somebody does mean things to you, people will say, oh, well, they do that because they had a rough childhood. Not necessarily. sometimes people do mean just because they want to do mean. So that could have been what he was talking to me about, of like where I wasn't willing to see, like I wasn't actually willing to look at at the dark side, or like at what's not working. And one of the things that I've really had to look at in the world, in my life, is where I have a mean streak, and where where I will hurt people just because they annoy me, but it's not creating more consciousness, it's creating less in the world. So because I wasn't willing to see where people were being mean, I was only willing to look on the bright side of things, I actually had to cut off the place in me where I was mean like that. And so it gave me way less choices in my life. The willingness to acknowledge, whoa, I have a mean streak. And trust me, it was not pretty. I cried a lot, and I really thought I was a bad person and maybe should stop being a facilitator and maybe just go away and live in a cave in a hole. And because I was like, that's so mean. Why would I ever do that? But after I acknowledged it, it like went away. Like I can use mean better when I need to, but I'm not subconsciously or like unawarely hurting people like that anymore. Because I was hurting people that I didn't want to hurt. Like it wasn't actually something like good or pushing buttons or anything like that. It was a level of unconsciousness that I was functioning from that was creating less in the world.
So if you had stopped, I just want to get clear. Thanks everybody. So if you had, as you were going through that and acknowledging it and getting the awareness of it, if you had stopped at any point and said, okay, that I'm choosing happy, would you have had the awareness and
No, exactly. I
so
needed
that's
to
kind of my question. Yeah.
Yes. So but there's
it wouldn't have contributed to have chosen to stop and say, okay, I'm just going to choose happy now.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It depends on the day, on the situation. I mean, you're sort of trying to come to a conclusion about this,
Okay, thanks,
rather than having the information that would give you the awareness in every single situation, or like in every 10-second increment, basically. So you've got to look at, okay, and you might be doing this as a way to just, when you get happy, thinking, oh, maybe I'm supposed to be looking at something more. Because Gary or Dane will never tell you that when you're happy that there's anything wrong. Because there's a difference between happy and being aloof. What Gary was talking to me about is where I was being aloof. When you make a choice to go from upset to happy, you're not being aloof, you're being happy. Because you could be upset, that's easy. And you could be happy. So why don't I just choose to be happy? So that's where you're doing the choice for happiness, not the avoidance of energies of meanness or evil or sadness or trauma or anything like that. Does that help? Yeah? Anything else? You're muted. I'm unmuting you.
Okay, thanks. So also, what is this? What do I do with it? Again, I just feel like I can stay in what is this? What is this? What is this? And I don't get clarity about it. And then sometimes I feel
No. Okay, you're bringing up another good question. So it's not intended to bring you clarity in the moment. It's intended for, that question is you asking the universe, what is this? So that the universe in its own time frame can bring you awareness. It's not instant. It might not even be that day. That awareness might come tomorrow. So you just ask the question. You've asked the question. You've posed the question to the universe, and then you go on with your life.
And I don't go to the second question until I get some kind of awareness of.
No. You can go, okay, so what is this? What do I do with it? And I don't, like, it might not go kaboom. Sometimes it does. But you go, what is this? And then, okay, so you just get an energy, sort of. It might not be like a clear answer. You'll get kind of an energy of awareness or whatever, or maybe you won't. But you're still going to get it eventually. You might get it tomorrow, or you might get it next week. So you go, what is this? what do I do with it? And you kind of just, I mean, you don't even really have to wait either. I kind of do. I'll go, let me think about how I would do this. Okay, so somebody there's an upset with somebody. So I'll go, okay, so what is this? What do I do with it? Can I change it? And then that one, the can I change it, yes or no? Sometimes you'll get a no. Like if the other person isn't willing to change it, then there's nothing you can do. But you're aware of what's going on. And when you ask those questions, Nina, you're engaging the elementals of the universe to contribute to you. You're going, okay, I have been functioning from unconsciousness here, because anything that makes you heavy has some lie to it or some unconsciousness. Anything that's heavy is not you. And then you are going, okay, so what is this? What can I do with it? Okay, so you just ask that. And then can I change it? It's like a lot of times I get really empowered because I get a yes. I actually can change it. And then how do I change it? So I'll ask that, and then I'll go on with my day. And I don't wait for anything. I don't stop. I've posed the questions to the universe. I know anything is changeable. Some things are not changeable, but I can change my side of it just by being willing to ask the questions. And then I go on with my day.
Well, and what happens if it's not mine? I mean, it's almost as though there are two different ways of approaching it. That who does it belong to? If it's not mine, then how does that work? That what is this? How can I change it? See what I mean? If it's not mine.
If it's not yours.
I know that's not one of those questions.
Yeah, well, but you can still ask. It's still going to bring you more awareness. It doesn't matter if it's yours or not. And that being said, if something isn't yours and you're trying to fix it, it will never change. So just be aware of that. You can't fix something that doesn't belong to you. You have to just return it to sender.
So anything that I'm saying, what is this, is mine?
Not necessarily. You're just getting information. The what is this could be, oh, this is Joe's back pain. So that is giving you that information. A lot of it's not even going to be cognitive, especially at first. It's just, you're just asking the questions, and sometimes you're just like, it's not going to like slam you in the face the next day either. You're just, by asking the questions, you're getting more and more and more conscious.
Thank you very much, Julia.
Cool.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, no problem.
Julia, I have a question that I promised I would pop in with. Can I ask it for
Yes.
Petek? Petek asked this before you even started. She was like really stoked about it. And it's about public speaking. She's here actually. So it's about public speaking and freezing. And do you want to jump on, honey? I can see
Hi
you.
there. Hello.
Hi, Petek.
Hi. Yes, it's like the theme of the month or the week for me right now, because I've been asked to speak on a podcast, which like my being is really excited about.
Mm-hmm.
Like on a call yesterday, on a quickie call yesterday, we kind of figured out, I jump out of my body just before I'm about to like be recorded or be asked to. Yeah.
So
I basically just go really nervous. Yeah.
Are you actually nervous, or are you so dang excited to start having your voice in the world that you just can't stand it? And you're laughing very much. So that means clearly you're so excited to have your voice in the world. It's just so exciting. Your whole world just goes wild. So
a lot of things are actually happening very, very fast. And like suddenly I've sort of like the first podcast was very few followers, and I was like, can I do this? Oh, I can do it because it's just very few people, so nobody will see it. I'll just treat it as a practice round. And I mean, I was nervous enough then, and just about sort of managed.
Can I tell you a story about having my voice in the world? Okay, so I think if you did a poll, everybody would say I was a really good public speaker. And I was not always that way. Like, I had to use the tools of Right Voice for You to become a good public speaker. And so what I did was, every time I would go to make a video, because like the idea of like putting my iPhone up to myself and like making a video that I knew that like anybody on Facebook would see, I was like, no, that's not okay.
Yeah,
Like my
true.
uncle could see that. You know what I mean? Or like my parents' friends. And I could be like talking about like consciousness, and they would come across it and they would see it. And I was like, that is just not happening. That's horrible. So that went on. So I didn't do it. And then I realized, okay, this isn't actually working for me to avoid. So step one was avoidance, which hopefully none of you will have to do because we have good tools. So step two for me was like, fuck, if like I actually have things to say.
Yeah.
I actually have things I gotta say, man. They gotta be said. I have value in the world, and I gotta do this if I'm gonna be a facilitator, because I was like building my young facilitating business. So I started to make videos, and I did not post them. And I would POC and pod myself as I would go through. And like, I was so nervous. And then I'd rewatch them, and I would watch like 30, like not even like 3 seconds, and I would shut it off. And I'd be like, my teeth look so snaggly, and my lipstick looks so stupid. I look like trailer trash in my lipstick. And I just such an embarrassment to humanity and to myself. And like, how could I ever possibly post this? And then like my energy in the video was like it was this energy of like, I'm sorry for being alive. Please don't hate me for making this video. And I wasn't even posting it. I was like apologizing to the inside of my iPhone that would store the video. So I was freaking out. And so I just kept going, and I would keep making these stupid ass videos and leaving them on my iPhone, and POCing and podding along the way. So some choices don't actually come instantaneously, you guys. And the wonderful thing about having your voice in the world is that it doesn't matter if it's perfect. Like, you actually have a voice. You actually have something to say. And even when you think you don't have anything to say, like, look at how you see the world that other people don't. You know, it's like, what if you were unapologetic for being really a strange person? You know, because you're really strange. I'm really strange. I'm really glad that I'm really strange, because I don't have to live like other people. I will never have to do things that other people do. I will not force myself to struggle in the way that other people struggle. Have I struggled? Yeah. Have I made things really, really hard for myself and worked against myself dynamically? A lot. But it's like I know that my future is great no matter what. And I know that I'm on my own team, and I know that consciousness is on my team. And that's strange. That's a strange thing to be in the world. And so how are you strange that you have been suppressing, avoiding, killing, crushing, annihilating, abhorring, and destroying? That is actually your voice in the world and the gift that you came here to be. And I don't mean that as a joke. You came here to be this thing. So everything that is times a godzillion will you guys destroy and uncreate it all. right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys. So then step 3 of iPhone to Facebook video making was actually starting to post these things. And I didn't like it. And the first videos, and also I started my own podcast too, because I wanted to have conversations with other facilitators. I was a little nervous. I knew I couldn't carry a conversation for 30 minutes, but I thought I can learn to start speaking on a podcast and interviewing people by having people on a show. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. So my first guest ever was Curry Glassell. And and we didn't record to a live audience. We pre-recorded I phoned her and we recorded it. And I was so bloody nervous. I was like peeing in my pants. And Curry complimented me on the show, and she's like, oh, and I'm here with Julia, who's one of my favorite people. And I was like, what? Why did she just say that? That can't even be true. And I was so embarrassed, and I couldn't receive the compliment, and I was just imploding. Second by second did I keep imploding. And then so I posted the show as much as I didn't want to. I was like, maybe I need to learn how to like audio edit stuff so I can like clip myself out of the show. But I chose not to, and I posted the show. And then my next show was really, really embarrassing and nerve-wracking, and I was like, how can I keep doing this? But I knew I had to. And that's where it comes in, is like, when you know you have to do something, you do it. And you always have, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, how many of you know that you have to get your voice in the world and haven't actually claimed
I fell
it?
right into it. When the guy pressed record on the first podcast, suddenly I was just in this modus operandus where it was just smooth sailing. Whereas before that, I was a complete nervous wreck. But when he pressed record, it was all just flowing.
Yep.
And then,
Emergency situation, you get calm, cool, and collected, and you handle the situation.
I knew I have to do, this is meant to be, and this is meant to be heard or whatever. And this is just like a little practice round, and there's going to be more. Then I froze midway.
And let me say too, though, it's not meant to be. You actually chose to be it. You knew you had to. I mean, it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be, but if you don't do it, you are slowly killing yourself. Okay? So you chose to create your life and create your world rather than kill yourself. Because every time you choose against you, you're killing yourself off.
Wow.
Yeah.
But so then I froze halfway because he asked me something that was kind of new to me, and I wasn't quite prepared for it. And then I just jumped out of my body. And I just went, so instead of just pausing and sort of trying to gather myself, I started to apologize. I went, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, no, I've lost my thread. Oh, please, can you stop? Can you just stop the recording?
Is it actually true that you went out of your body, or was it something else?
I just lost my concentration. I went blank. Went blank. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a so did you go blank, or did you leave your body?
I'm getting a yes on I left my body.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll leave it there. But it's like, you knew what you had to do. You went there. You showed up. Was it perfect? No. But I think the thing about having our voice in the world is we think that we have to like get it together before we put our voice in the world. Like, I had the point of view that if I had embarrassing podcasts and embarrassing videos with bad lipstick and a snaggletooth, it was like, then who's ever, like, what value do I have in the world? Why would anybody listen to me if I'm a quivering leaf? But it created the future. I mean, those podcasts had good tools in them and they facilitated others. But those podcasts facilitated me. And I got better and better and better and better. And I'm a great interviewer now. And I can do podcasts. I could sit by myself recording a podcast for 64 hours and not ever get nervous and not ever run out of things to say. But it's because I did what I knew I had to do, and I worked on creating the future. So everywhere you guys have been living for today, rather than putting in place what needs to be put in place so that your life is the way you'd like it to be in 2 years, will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good and bad, online, pod, proc, shorts, boys and beyonds. I have a friend, and what he would really like to have in his life is he would really like to own his own home, and he would really like to own his own car. And that's something that just, to him, would give him a sense of self. And it was like, okay, he didn't have the ability to make that money at the job that he was at. And the things that he really wanted to do in the world, he had to go to school for about 6 years. And when he thought about going to school to do those things, it like lit up his world. But he wasn't willing to make the demand that whatever it takes, even if it takes 6 years, I'm going to have what I'd like to have in myself. With myself. I'm going to own my own home, and I'm going to have a car, and I'm going to be willing to have things in my life rather than living in debt and paycheck to paycheck. So everywhere that you guys are not willing to commit to creating your future, will you destroy and uncreate at all times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9 pod, proc, shorts, boys and beyond. And I know that like we're sort of talking about right voice for you, but I want to deal with these things that are coming up energetically. I know that this isn't like a talk where I've like prepared, when you come to right voice for you, you get this, and then you get this, and then you get this, and then you get this. But it's not, right voice for you is not a program or a structure. It's a class where you come and you be there and you look at where you're not willing, where you give up on yourself in your own world, where you stop creating and let yourself be less rather than actually be present and deal with whatever comes up, even if it's embarrassing. And that's not to say that like, you know, it's wrong if you give up or if you stay quiet in your seat. You still get the energy and you still become something different. And so all of the pressure that you have put on yourself with regards to right voice for you and who you should be in the world and what you should be in the world and what this class means, and that it means you're going to be a singer and it means you should only come if you're going to be a star, will you destroy and uncreate at all times a godzillion? Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9 pod and poc, shorts, boys and beyonds. It's like, what would you like to see in the world, and what would you like to create and be in the world, and where do you keep slicing off your own legs rather than creating that in the world and letting the world be the place, letting your world be the beautiful place that you know it should be and have not yet created? What if your world was a mystical fairyland of possibilities and happiness and where there were no problems anywhere in sight? And that's not fantasy. That's a creatable reality. Will it be perfect? No, things come up. But it's this different way of functioning in the world where it's like, okay, something comes up. Do you let yourself die Or do you go, okay, whatever it takes, how am I going to change this? How am I going to create this? You know, for me doing announcements, I mean, all this stuff was so hard for me. And I was somebody that I thought was pretty confident, but I couldn't get up in front of everybody at an access class and make an announcement. I couldn't facilitate a telecall for an hour to a whole bunch of people who were older than me and who I didn't know. I would freak the fuck out. That's like not easy stuff to do in this reality. But I'm like, I got to. I can't, because not doing it felt like dying. It hurt so bad. It made me suicidal. It made me depressed. I had a lot of severe anxiety, like panic attacks where I'd put my face on the floor and be like for a really long time because I couldn't handle I couldn't handle killing myself like that. It hurt too much. And hurting myself like that was an anxiety-ridden, depressing, suicidal place to be. Because when you are capable in the way that you are capable, that nobody has ever looked at and acknowledged and said, hey, you're capable in this way. Do you know that? If nobody's ever been that for you, chances are you haven't seen it and you haven't acknowledged it and you haven't been willing to have it in your life. And when you are willing to be your voice in the world, I mean, you don't have to die anymore. You don't have to have the anxiety anymore. You don't have to have the no money anymore. You don't have to be depressed anymore like everybody else. You can go off of your Xanax, you know, because Xanax is what you need when you keep killing yourself off. There, that's a quote graphic for Facebook. Just kidding. That's a joke. But like, it's like it's okay to hurt yourself, you know? It's acceptable. You've seen every single person in your life hurt themselves their entire life. And most of them probably aren't even as capable as you. And the more capable that you are, the more it hurts when you kill that capability off. And that's right voice for you. That is when you are willing to be capable in areas that nobody else is willing to be capable. And it is a willingness to be everything, do everything, have everything, create everything, and receive everything. And I know that sounds like a little bit like a lot of stuff to have. Like maybe you get 3 out of the 6 in the basket, and that's the best life you can have. But it's not, because I'm not talking about having this reality and then like adding a bunch of stuff to it. I'm talking about going from this reality to a different reality, to a lighter, brighter, happier reality where you are capable.
So,
and you have been validated your whole life for when you are incapable.
Share.
Just give me 1 quick second, Patek. When you are being capable, people vilify you for being capable. They do everything that they can to make sure that that capability doesn't show up in you again. Because if that capability shows up in you again, they have to realize what a pathetic mess their life is, and they have to seriously take a look at themselves for why your life used to be bad and now it's amazing and you're capable. Okay?
Can I ask a question, Julia? Do we have time?
I'm going to take Patek and then
I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me take Patek and then we'll see here. I don't know how long we'll go an hour. So we have 15 more minutes. So we'll take as much as we can take in 15 minutes. Go ahead, Patek.
I was just curious if there's any tools from Right Voice for You
Yeah.
that can help you sort of step into that,
Well, Right Voice
like
for You.
being heard.
Yeah, Right Voice for You is an exercise-based class. So every
Mhm.
class has a stage in it. There's always a stage, and it's sort of like Dane's ESB. Like when you pop, then like you would come on the stage and we would work together. And so there are a ton of exercises there, and you get a manual in Right Voice for You. So there's a ton of exercises in your manual, and it's a big exercise-rich class. But a tool that I'll give you today for that is, what am I capable of that nobody else is capable of? That if I was willing to know I was capable of it, would change all realities and manifest as total consciousness. And that's something you can ask mega amounts of times throughout your day, as much or as little as you would like.
Thank you.
Cool, you're welcome.
Thank
Okay, so we have Daniel, and then Mara.
And Russians.
And Andrash?
No, Russians. We have a lot of questions in Russian chat.
Oh, maybe the Russians need their own hour.
Yeah, we need.
Tell the Russians that I love them so much, and I'm going to give them their own hour as well on top of this one. Okay, go ahead, Daniel.
So if Sonia has 6 ulterior motives to destroy your career, and she wants to go to your class, and you know she's going to kill you, how do you prepare?
What's your question?
Like if
This
someone
sounds
in your life...
This sounds like a crossword puzzle or some sort of riddle, not a question.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So I need to get out of my head about this. But like how do you function in a world where you know like the subliminal levels where people want to kill you?
Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's talk about that. So having your voice in the world, okay, so we just talked about a lot of people don't want you to have your voice in the world because it makes them feel less. Is it the worst thing in the world? No. Is it too bad? Yeah. Is it something you're capable of overcoming? You don't think so. And you are capable of overcoming it if you will. You have to be willing to be a success no matter what. How many of you are willing to be a success until this shows up? So everything that the until is for you, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pop, pop, shorts, boys, yes. So you know this new concept of exoskeleton? I'm going to explain a concept. Some of you have heard it. It's a new concept in Access, and it's called the exoskeleton. And it's basically where around you, you have taken things you don't want to know about and put them in this sort of like energetic shell, like a lobster has an exoskeleton. So if you need to picture an exoskeleton, just picture a lobster. I love to eat lobster, so I like describing the exoskeleton. So you have your lobster shell, and so we use this exoskeleton. It's an energetic thing. We use this exoskeleton to store all of the things that we don't want to know about. So when somebody doesn't like us and we're not willing to know it, we throw it into the exoskeleton. When we're super, super powerful and capable and amazing, throw that into the exoskeleton. I don't want to know about that stuff. So we store all this crap in the exoskeleton, this good stuff. Well, it's not all crap, but we store just a ton of stuff in the exoskeleton. And so to clear it, you can just go, everything I've stored in my exoskeleton that I'm unwilling to be aware of, I now am willing to perceive, know, be, and receive it. So I was at a class, and exoskeleton was this really big thing, and we were doing a lot of clearing. And then I was having lunch, and it just kind of went, all of a sudden, I'd done so much clearing on the exoskeleton. A whole rush of energy came into my universe. And it was all these things I wasn't willing to be aware of. So I guess I was draining out the exoskeleton, as you do. And And one of the things, there was many things, lots of potency, power, amazing, cool things. And a lot of it was like, whoa, a lot of people really don't like me. I'm like, I'm just little Julia from the farm in Canada. Like, but that's not what I am. You know, sometimes I think, oh, that's all that's not what I am. I'm here to deliver consciousness. And so a lot of people don't like me. And I didn't realize that. I knew sort of, oh yeah, these people don't like me, people don't like me. But this was like energetically like, holy macaroni, it was a lot of energy. And so at that second, when all of this energy came flooding in, it was sort of felt like being, you know, in the Colosseum, like you watch those movies about like the gladiators, you know, and the whole crowd is in the Colosseum and they're sort of barbaric because it's like 500 years after Christ in like Rome, and they probably have like a chicken wing or something like that in the audience, and they're like watching the animals like kill each other, or the gladiators kill each other, and they're just sort of rah! And it was like, that's what it was like, literally energetically. I felt like I was like one of those animals that like came up. I think they had like floating floors in the Colosseum, and I like came up in the floor, and like I was like this little animal, like, oh my goodness. And it was like everybody was throwing tomatoes at me energetically. I was like, oh, I didn't know that many. Like, and it's not that people, like that all those people like really don't like me, but it's sort of this energetic, like, I don't even have to have met people. It's like anybody who's trying to kill consciousness, or like anybody who's not willing to receive you. And most of it is other people who just don't want to receive the great things about you that are great in them. So they don't like you. It's just because they don't like themselves. So it's like, what would it be like if it was really okay for people not to like you? Because that's part of having your voice in the world too. So, and what you can do is, oh, you guys, you have to, I'm doing a commercial right now for Dane. Hold on, Dane commercial time. Dane has this app. You guys, he like made these like cute little like clips that you can listen to every day. And one's like, I'm tired, help. So like sometimes if I'm like tired at my desk, I'm like, the day, and I'm like, oh wait, I'll just turn on Dane. So he has I'm tired, help. And my most favorite, which is only $10, this is part of the commercial, is called Waking Up with Wings. And it's only 7 minutes long. It doesn't have the picture. Where's the picture? Anyways, it's only 7 minutes long, and you get this app called Kajabi, and it's 7 minutes long, and you play it. And so every day he clears in this loop all the projections and expectations that you have or that other people have designed to destroy. Will you destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion? So, because other people would like to destroy you, but not in like a weird movie way. Like they don't probably dwell on you all day. They're only thinking about themselves. So don't get too into it unless you want to. It'd be like, everybody's against me. Which you could do too. Actually, I'd prefer if you do that. Everybody's against me.
Thank you.
But really, it's like you just destroy and uncreate the projections and expectations that you have or that others have designed to destroy. Because a lot of the projections and expectations, probably the majority, are going to be your own, designed to destroy you. So that's something that you can do. Well, Chomps, Chelsea, can we send the email, this in the follow-up email? I just think everybody needs Dane's app. It's so fantastic. Awesome. So, okay, so I'm going to take Mara, and then we're going to have to end this. Sorry to everybody else who had questions. You can all come on the Russian Zoom. I probably won't answer your questions because that will be for the Russians, but you can listen because I don't speak Russian, so there will be an English copy. So we can continue this conversation on the Russian Zoom, even if you are English or any other language that we have translated into this. And thank you all, before I take Mara's question, thank you to the translators. This is a free Zoom. These guys are not getting paid for this. They're just doing this because they want to support consciousness and they wanted to do this. So I really, really appreciate the translators because they do so much work and they are such a gift. And I just really, really appreciate all the work. Like I thought about it the other day. I was thinking about translators and I'm like, translators don't even get to ask questions on telecalls if they have a question because they have to translate. And it's like they just do such a service and it's just such a kindness. I'm so grateful for all these translators. And I know we have Vivi and I know we have Julia, which is really funny. And I'm not sure if I'm missing any languages, but I'm just really grateful for you guys. Awesome. Okay, let's take Mara and then we got to go on with our day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi.
Hi. Happy New Year.
You're just so like Bangle the whole time. So bring it on.
So my question is something related with the other ones, the first ones. So you were talking about mean people. You talked about you get anxious and nervous, and yes, in the beginning we talk about with Chelsea, we talk about how I get so nervous and I'm talking and I'm shaking. So
so are you nervous or are you excited?
Both. Can I be
no,
both?
no. I'm
excited.
No.
Yes. Yes,
You're excited, Mara.
I'm always like this, excited, and
because you're here and you're alive and you've got the good.
I'm start talking, and if nobody tell me, I talk forever. So I speak forever. So, what I'm serve like coaching. I'm not the kind of coach that do, oh, that's okay. No, I put the finger in no. So it's like this. And Mara,
like
you are so mean.
Dominatrix too, if you have that ability. I'm like,
so and
I
then
you men who would pay a lot of money for that kind of energy delivered at them.
So then I apologize because people think that I am mean. So the way that I talk, the way that I want to put the things to the world, like you were saying.
So are you a little bit intense?
Yes. And that kind of thing was always.
Wait, stop it!
Sorry, stop it. See?
Have you been made wrong for being that intense?
Yes, all my life.
Are you wrong for being that intense?
No.
You're like, yes, no, because I have to tell you no, but yes, I do believe I'm wrong.
Yes.
So everywhere that you know that you're wrong for being that intense, will you destroy and uncreate at all times a godzillion?
Yes, please.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pot and pock, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So everywhere you have decided you're wrong for being that intense, will you destroy and uncreate at all times a godzillion?
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah, that's an abuse to your being.
Yes.
You are intense. You're really intense, and it's wonderful.
To be, but I am ashamed to be to the world. So in my house, with my family, with my parents, I have any problem to do. No, it's not like that. Or are you sure about that? And
then when you like have conflict in your world about being intense because it's what you be, but then you've been beaten out of it because people have made you wrong for so much for so long for being who you are,
and the rage,
then you go into conflict about it, and then it's like when you do it when you do it with a client, it's like they perceive that conflict, and then you guys create the situation where you can make yourself more wrong. So everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Everywhere you're setting yourself up, will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes, please.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all nine, pod and poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So one thing that might make your life easier is asking before every session, what can this person receive?
Okay.
Okay?
You.
But you're not wrong for who you are.
And that's
I'm really intense. People like get so uncomfortable around me because I'm so intense. And they just don't even know what to do with me. But it's like it's just who I am. I have to be this way in order to be happy. This is who I am. And so, but I've also had to learn, okay, so sometimes it doesn't create to show people how intense I am. I can be that intense, but I can put a little velvet coating, you know, when I'm around somebody who they're a little uncomfortable. Or instead of laser beaming the energy at someone, or like laser beaming it, ask to broadband your intensity. Does that make sense?
okay. Yes, a lot. Energetically, a lot.
Yeah. So, and you can re-listen and stuff to get the like more clarity, but you got to look at what's it going to take to broadband this, because then people will be more grateful for you. Because when you are really intense, sometimes it feels like slicing to the other person. It feels like they got sliced with a knife.
Yes.
It's not a wrongness, though. You just haven't been taught how to use your warrior abilities. You just kind of are slicing heads off accidentally. Now you can use it to become the master that you are. I watched Forbidden Kingdom with Jackie Chan the other night for the first time. Like, I don't know anything about Jackie Chan, but I have stepsons now, so they teach me about all of these things, Jackie Chan and gore and horror and God of War and all of these crazy things. And it's like you become the master.
Yes, and that's the block for me to make the videos, to put me out there, because of fear of judgment, fear what people will think, fear of people.
So sometimes it's going to work super awesome for you to be super intense. But before you make a video, go, okay, so what is my audience? What would these people like to receive? And tap into everybody who's going to watch the video from now to 50 years in the future.
Yes, the fear of the things that I'm saying now will be wrong in the future. That's one block too.
The things that Gary said 20 years ago, he doesn't still use. But he still said them because he knew he had to get moving.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope it helped.
Yes, it did a lot. Thank you.
Cool. And I know Sukriti, you had a question, but if you send me a Facebook message, I'll answer your question on Facebook. Gloria's saying, what's broadband? So it's energetically like a large bandwidth. So you're like, instead of being like kind of intense, where somebody feels like they're getting stabbed by you, you be intense all over the place, like a bandwidth, a broad bandwidth of energy everywhere. And how do you do it? You just say, okay, what would it take for me to broadband this? And that's it. That's all you have to say. What would it take for me to broadband with?
There are few clients that they look at me, Mara, talk to me like that because I need it. Talk to me like that because I need it. But there are very few. Yeah.
So you have to be willing to be whatever the other person would like to receive. Or not what they would like to receive, what they are willing to receive. Really? So just make sure you ask that before each question, and it'll get easy really fast.
Yeah. I mute myself.
Awesome.
Bye. Thank
cool.
you.
So thank you guys so much for being here. And this is sort of a taste of Right Voice for You. We didn't cover everything, but this is an invitation to the class where we do cover everything. And Chelsea, do you want to talk about all the upcoming events? Chelsea's got all of her things organized.
I'm glad you remembered. Yeah, and I'm getting a bunch of private messages right now too, guys, asking about where Julia is next. In the exit email, please pay attention to the email that you receive in this. There's going to be links to join us all over the world, literally. Julia, our next class is in Saskatoon, and then we've got New York, we've got St. Petersburg, Russia coming up, we have Sao Paulo, we have Mumbai, or actually Delhi now. So
and for those of you listening, we've moved the Mumbai class to Delhi, and we're turning it into a weekend class because it was the middle of the week. It's going to be a weekend class in Delhi. Mumbai is no longer happening this year, and we also have Miami. We have the Netherlands. So basically, there's going to be a lot of places. Now, some of these classes are going to be live streamed so that you can live stream in and take the class, and some of them are not going to be live streamed. We haven't made all the choices for what will be live streamed, but you basically want to look at, or we're going to basically look at which classes would like to be live streamed. So yeah, so go ahead, Chelsea.
Speak up, guys. Like if you have questions about that and you have requests and you would love for it to be live streamed, we will only know when you ask for it. So don't be shy and respond to your email and read your email and find Julia on Facebook. You're welcome to find me on Facebook too. I can answer a bunch of questions for you. But yeah, this is opening up literally a whole world of classes. So thank you. Thanks for being here, and please ask questions.
Yeah, and exactly like Chelsea said, like we're here and we're available. If you send me an email, I'll send you an email back. You know what I mean? So please, with whatever questions, Chelsea will answer them. I'll answer them. Alan will answer them. We're really, really excited about getting this going, and we're really here to support you guys and answer any questions that you have. Okay?
Cool.
So, all right. And to all the Russians, keep your questions, write them down until the next Zoom, or get over them right now and forget about asking them on the next Zoom, but we'll have the next Zoom anyway.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, wait, hold on, Kushnor. Go ahead, Kushnor.
Hi, Julia. I just wanted to express gratitude, loads of it, because I'm new to Access and I have been...
You're very quiet, Kushnor. Very, very quiet.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm new to Access, and for the past 2 to 3 weeks, I have been listening to your videos on YouTube and your files, and I've been reading your emails, and I just want to express gratitude for the contribution that you've been to my life. It's been amazing, and the things that you just said for your in this taster video, in this taster call, they were just fabulous. It led to a lot of energy shift for me, and just wanted to acknowledge that. So
awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming on and saying that. I appreciate it. Awesome. Awesome. You are so welcome, and I'm so glad that you guys could all be here, and everybody's saying thank you, and you guys are so welcome, and let this just be the very beginning of all of the magic that we can create in the world. What else is possible? How does it get better than this? And like I said at the very beginning of the Zoom, what are the greatest possibilities available? Okay? All right. Bye, guys. And you'll all get a recording of this in your email as soon as Chelsea can get it up. So we're working on it. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.